I don't agree with it either. I was trying to get Swiper out of here because he came in here and he said he put it on the internet. I'm like, bro, that's not cool. Like, what type of, what is wrong with you?
That motherfucker on Telegram. Who Telegram was it in?
I forget. I ain't even gonna tell you because that's messed up.
Y'all take it easy on that for real. That's a private part. It's like that's why I don't send my dick out.
Public parts now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was trying to tell her too. Like, I don't care if you think
it's exactly why I don't send my dick out.
If he's not your husband, you probably shouldn't be doing that. Cause
I tell all my female friends, stop sending naked pictures out. Niggas is gonna send them.
Nah, send them to me. You feel me?
Nah, when people send stuff to me, it stay on my phone. I don't leave it here.
I know a bunch of dudes that don't do that.
Yeah, I don't do no gay ass shit.
I'm over that shit. She sent. I barely even look at that shit. I'm like, all right, like, just let me get it in person. I really don't care about the picture. I don't send dick.
Jasmine out there on the internet too, though.
I said Jazzy my dick. That's the only girl on the app I sent my dick with.
I ain't never seen that.
Nah, I'm just fucking with you.
No, I'm talking about him. I'm talking about he done sent me something. I ain't never seen that.
Damn, you're forgettable, my nigga. That's crazy.
Nah, it ain't. I was just, but I ain't sent it, nigga. Don't try to flip that on me.
Nah, you cool nigga, man. I like you.
Who see it?
She ain't nothing but a hoochie mama. Hoochie mama.
Hey, yo, I just my whole bottle of that shit just. Oh, I hate when that shit hit the floor and it cracked wide open.
Floor's wide open.
Yeah, you got them hardwood floors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that shit happened to me like a month.
To get worse. The Federal Aviation Administration reports staff shortages among air traffic controllers are forcing flight cuts at 8 major airports, including Atlanta, San Francisco, Houston,
are having a harder and harder time finding jobs. The new kids coming out of school, computer science majors that are having difficulty. And this is just the start. Like, AI is in its infancy. When you have, like, there are people that aren't really keeping up with the whole full self-driving. Mister, you're off the mic, brother, and you're making noises. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Like the transportation industry, I want you to look up how much money overall the transportation industry generates. And when we have like full self-driving vehicles that can go 24/7, that can replace, truck drivers, and you have like robots on there loading and unloading the trailers, like, what do you think happens? Like, I think people think when they say something like, oh, it can't replace every job. We don't need it to replace every job. Do you know what, like, 25% unemployment would do to this country? Do you know what 40% unemployment would do to any country? Do you know what, like,
20% would do? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. It's like, it would be devastating. It would have cascading effects. Cascading. It would like this. We're all interdependent parts, and you mess with certain parts, the machine collapses. This is a big machine. You just pull out willy-nilly certain parts of it, it's not going to work. There are going to be unintended consequences that people didn't even like anticipate. And like we're talking, I'm telling you, there's going to be a point when people are going to say, "I can't believe people used to drive themselves." It's going to be nuts. I can't believe you let a doctor cut into you, a surgeon. Like that's going to be nuts. Like it's just we're going to get to that point, and it's not something that's so like science fiction and so far fetched in the future. This is not that.
Let me respond. All right, let me respond.
Go ahead.
First off, here's the problem.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Sweet just hasn't had a time, so let's give the new guy a shot. Go ahead, Sweet.
Yeah, you're looking out. People survive. That's what we did. Like I'm always saying, like you were saying, modern. You know, so okay, the human being is still walking around. So immediately, you don't need me. Guess what? You still got children. Guess what? You probably still want. I don't know, human services. So immediately, the one that's wide awake is not complaining, is saying, "Oh shit, there's a huge need for blase." You figure it out. There's a huge need for a million different things right now. So the one that will service that need will be wealthier than they can survive. At least they'll eat every day. Because they tell everybody, "Oh shit, so and that person lost everything." But guess what? They still want to wake up every day. They probably still want to have clean clothes. They probably still want to, take a bath. They'll figure out that human beings still have a huge bunch of needs that all of a sudden aren't getting serviced the way they've been serviced for quite some time. So instead of saying, "Oh my God, who moved my cheese?" That's a good book. They'll actually say, "Oh shit, there's a whole bunch of other opportunities now. If I got enough sense and attention units to focus in on, these human beings still need some other stuff now." But the main thing is they still want to keep breathing. They probably still want to have some happiness and feel good sometimes. And they probably, they do want to look out for their children. And so what they're going to do is recognize what is, and they're going to be using the AI, which I call awesome intelligence, and they're going to use it to create what they need based on the circumstances that they now have. And they're going to talk to ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or Google's version or as much as possible to ask, now that that's the reality, what do you suggest? What do you think? And they're going to use it for their own best interest. You know how I know that? Because the case study of human life says people are going to survive. That's all.
Oh yeah. All right, so let me say this. All right, so let me respond.
Damn.
That's what he says. Wait, hold on. If I can respond, it's like I've been hearing this like because I'm a truck driver, so myself, I've been hearing like about this self-driving truck since 2010. Okay, it's 2025. Okay. And we still driving around semi trucks. People are still driving semi trucks. Back in 2010, they were talking about the self-driving Uber car. But bruh, I'm not done. They're talking about the self-driving Uber cars, and they said, but I knew it was all bullshit because even though I was a teenager, I'm like, I'm reading about this shit online. I'm like, okay, well, what happens if somebody that's drunk throws up in the back of that damn self-driving taxi? I'm pretty sure the next person that rides in that taxi is not going to want to. The next person that rides in that taxi is not going to want to sit in somebody else's throw.
They have cleaning stations.
Sweetheart, I'm not done. Okay. So I was asking those questions back then, so I knew it was all bullshit back then. It was all hype. And I understood that, these guys, these Bezos, the Musk and stuff, they need you to buy stock in their companies. And now people have bought so much stock in their companies. These companies are over leveraged. That's why Tesla's struggling. Tesla is, and I don't care how many of these cars you see, nobody's buying these Teslas. People don't want these Teslas, okay? They tried to sell Teslas to that company that rents the cars out. And they brought literally thousands of those Teslas, and nobody bought them. And they went out of business because it turns out when people rent these brother, I'm not done. It turns out when people rent cars, they want to be able to go where they want to go, and it's not always convenient to have these EVs because you can't charge them everywhere. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. first. When you talk about automation, you don't know what's going to be automated or what's not going to be automated. You don't know what new technologies will come out. You know what I mean? And so
Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria.
But you're not
Thousands are gathered.
You're up late with us on the West Coast, Don.
But I'll lay right there.
One mic on Alpha. One mic on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, absolutely.
Alpha.
Listen to the conversation.
Get happy. That's
It
how
seems
you
that
persist
in
in
public discourse, we tend to speak a lot about social democracies and democratic socialism. Refer to the Nordic countries. They usually say that they're democratic socialists. Well, yes, at one point until about, I would say, mid-80s, if I'm not mistaken, until the mid-80s, according to history, there were parties that called themselves democratic socialists and whatnot that did implement policies that were, I want to say, always and all the time collectivist in the sense that they were strictly collectivist, but they were very much policies that are characteristics of some sort of form of collectivism, that was simply delegated. In the course of time, it became more capitalistic in the sense that there was more privatized industries, more privatized and more entrepreneurship in the Nordic countries, until eventually 2 countries primarily, but most of it would go to Norway, actually, that broke away after they found oil. And so, if we talk about social democracy, right? Social democracy is basically, it can emerge from a socialist movement, which doesn't necessarily advocate the implementation of socialism, but rather what it says is that if we implement social programs and policies that economically benefit the majority of society, that gives them some form of control over economic policies without much intervention of bureaucracy, then what will happen? The society will slowly assimilate into the socialist framework, and it will be a very peaceful process. So that's what they believe, that we don't necessarily need to abolish capitalism. All we need to do is just regulate it in a way that is more delegatory. And basically now what people refer to as, oh, well, that's a socialist policy, right? Because it looks like that. Well, for example, retirement. Retirement is a social policy. It basically, social security, right? Collective funding and so on and so forth. Healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid, however you want to call it. Now, in political rhetoric, sure, you could say, look, these are socialist policies, right? For example, Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal, President Barack Obama's Affordable Care Act. You can say, well, these were socialist policies. In reality, well, they were really not, because they were both retained by private enterprises. None of the people that were part of the Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, or that voted for it, were actually involved directly in the making of these policies, or in the way the funding for this enterprise was actually used. Even though they got the benefit, but they were actually held by private handlers or private enterprises. Same thing with hedge funds. Like, a lot of people say, look, we help students get their degrees, but afterwards they pay back the money. This is coming from government. No, actually, hedge funds come from private funders. And the whole idea of funding students began earlier on Wall Street, when a bunch of capitalists got together and said, look, we make money, and we need people to come into these industries. Why don't we pay people to go study, so that when they finish their degrees and they attain the skill sets, they come work for us? So it wasn't really out of this gesture of, hey, we're just trying to do good. Yes, do good, but also benefit and reap from the good. So I think these are some of the things that we need to look at. For instance, when we look at veterans' health, right? People say, well, that's a government-run health care for veterans. And, well, we say, yes, true. But in reality, the hospitals, the doctors, all of them, When a doctor is making a decision, I'm not involved as a patient, right? Those who get the surgeries, they're not asked collectively, hey, you come and tell the doctor how to perform the surgery because you want to see the benefits of the surgery or this particular method of surgery. No. So it has some resemblance to socialist policies, but it's not strictly social policy. So, but democratic socialism, if I could just touch on that for a little bit, democratic socialism, right, believes in collective and public ownership. So the hospital doesn't belong to, let's say, Maryland, which has some of the great, hospitals. It doesn't belong to Maryland State, right? It belongs to the people in Maryland. So if any tweaks in policies of that hospital, any kind of administrative changes happen, the people must be consulted by way of a referendum, by way of a vote, by way of serving. They have to be asked, and you do the will of the people because that's public.
Let me chime in here real quick. Let me chime in here real quick because I think what the gentleman is trying to do, he's trying to control the socialist extremism that could potentially surface from people that adopt this ideology. Right, he's trying to give it a bit of he's trying to inoculate it to the natural forces we know humans are naturally predisposed to, which is that when given the opportunity to get access to free things that they didn't have to toil for, that appetite grows. And I think what he's doing, noble, right? Oh, it could exist in a very confined, sterile environment in which there's parameters and there's healthy protections against abuse, as if to suggest that the very nature of humanity is not abusive against areas that could be exploited. And what socialism does is it opens the door for exploitation, because what it attempts to do is there's no amount of connecting socialism to democracy and suggesting that, because we have a socialist democratic society that is going to rein in the abuses. No, that's wishful thinking.
That's a representation of what I said.
That's wishful. Well, no, what I'm saying is trying to sanitize it. You can't sanitize socialism. I hear what you're saying, but you're saying it can work in certain silos and contexts. I'm saying it can't. And let me tell you the reason why. It's because when you corrupt the motive... I got it. Let me just get this out. Let me just get this out if I could. When you corrupt the motives, right? When you can corrupt the motives of self-worth and self-determination, and you try and collectivize the production across the society, right? And you say, okay, we're going to redistribute wealth across the society. Well, the problem is, in order to redistribute wealth, you would essentially have to also redistribute the workload to support that wealth. And that's where you go from socialism to communism, because you cannot redistribute the workload of sustaining that wealth without forcing people into labor, people that would otherwise not want to do it. And that's why capitalism is the perfect antidote to socialism and ultimately communism, which I think socialism is just a slippery slope to communism, because it creates...
Real quick,
that Austrian painter was correct.
Real quick, because one thing one thing that he did show, though, is that there was one example that he didn't use theoretical possibilities that it actually did, and you can't refute that. But either way, continue.
What example are you talking about? Man, I'm not trying to refute it. I just wanted to point out some gaps in the logic here to suggest that we can have a fully sustainable socialist democratic society that leans into the virtues of socialism, but completely eschews the vices of socialism, is wishful thinking, and I don't think it's practical. I think you have to understand the human condition, that it naturally corrupts, and it takes away the motivation to do any type of self generated efforts
towards wealth attainment. If I can spread the wealth and I can redistribute the wealth, then why would I work to build anything if the state is?
Well, you gotta
know that naturally will lend itself to a collectivist redistribution of labor, and that's where you get labor camps, and that's where you get forced labor, and we know that story. We've seen it before. That's why socialism never works.
TC, yes, I get it. I'm really, it won't work in the West, in my opinion, too. One thing I'm only pointing out is there is a world example where it has done and didn't do any of that. That's the example he used. Sweet, you're up.
Is he talking about exactly? Thank you. Yeah. So, exactly. See, first of all, labels, we got to do better with not just going off of labels, because people are going to look out for people. If you're a CEO and you're not looking out for your society, people call it employees, and doing what is best for them, and you're not creating something for them to be able to eat from, you won't have a company. You won't have a reality. So, and on this note about, I know a secure job where things changed and folks just had to figure out a way to do something different. It had to do with cotton. The most secure job in the South for a while was picking some cotton. That was job security to the nth degree. And I don't know how many folks are still picking cotton, but those people decided to keep it pushing and figure out some other stuff to do once the machines came over and said, we're going to replace all of you, so we don't need you to pick any more cotton. Now, if they would have been like I'm hearing, oh my God, what can possibly we do? And they figured out how to go do shit themselves. And the ones that did that well, children, our grandchildren, our great-great-grandchildren that are on this stage today, or that are still alive some kind of way. So what I'm saying is, I mean, the idea that things change and humans don't adapt and they don't, that's the insanity part. To now, oh my God, now the machines that some other human being put in place and built, and there's millions of folks right now that are getting very educated every week on how they can secure themselves with opportunities that are now opening up. But if you're just thinking that business as usual is where you should keep your mind, that's the difficult part that I think was going on. People are having a hard time saying, that's not how it is anymore. Let's do something else. And so because people, as they get older, they retirement check, and they thought everything was just going to just be okay now, and they come all this way, played the game the way they were taught to play the game, and some did it better than others and got educated a certain way and got job security and thought that the government was the best job security you could ever have. And now they realize that all of that is not the case anymore. So, but those that have never been in those positions are really blessed ones, because they've never depended on 401k. They've never depended on a government contract, but they're still here as well. And so those are the ones you might want to go, let's go back a little bit to where people were surviving and thriving and doing stuff, and pull up some of that old history stuff and see that people were still doing things. And that means for that to happen is just through the roof.
Wait, y'all, hey, I think y'all skipped over one of the more intriguing aspects of what Alpha said, was just on the fact that socialism exists in the United States. He pretty much said that.
Well, just to land my plane. I know you want to just cut me off, but let me at least land my plane. I'm in the middle of half of a sentence.
Stimulate y'all or something?
Let me just land my plane, and then I'll pass it to your point. And so,
wait, no, you already landed for sure.
No, I didn't land. Just you jumped in and cut me off doesn't mean I landed, bro.
How rude.
Well,
Can you be truly yourself? Express yourself completely. Then keep quiet.
Reverend Scott, it sounds like you were doing a lot of singing or yelling last night.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to ask, were you out on the town last night?
I was out on the town, but I did not sing. Actually, we did not. We didn't do karaoke last night. We decided that we'd take a break, me and my friends. So we just kind of went and caroused around, and Dave and I, my buddy, one of my best friends, my dentist friend, we like to, try to see if there's any new ladies out in Center City. And so we just walked around and, visited a few establishments, and neither of us, we're both still bachelors. So that's how it went about.
Did you end up meeting any ladies or getting any numbers?
No, it was not a great night for Scotty. It was, it's fine. But my friend Dave, who's again one of my best friends, he's lived in the same bachelor apartment for years. We're going to an open house tomorrow. He might buy a house, an amazing house right across the street. The place is unbelievable. So I'm going to an open house today to go look at the house with Dave.
Very quickly after Mod Squad Popcorn, I've invited Arabi Money up because Arabi Money has made some comments in the group chat, which I would like Arabi Money to back up. And if he doesn't back up, those comments will be deleted because they seem like claims without any evidence. But go ahead, Mod Squad, continue on, and then Norm is next. If you guys want. If not, it's okay. All right, then.
Okay, this is meditation, yoga, fluid breathing.
presents Stress Relief, featuring medical doctor, author, and educator, Dr. Martin Rossman.
Hi, this is Dr. Marty Rossman welcoming you to the Stress Relief through Guided Imagery CD program. Stress is a normal part of life, but excessive stress and excessive stress response can be exhausting and draining. Left unchecked or unbalanced, it can lead to a wide variety of unpleasant symptoms, including anxiety, insomnia, headaches, body aches and pains, and even depression. It can also lead us to indulge in unhealthy lifestyle choices, such as smoking, excessive drinking, or unhealthy eating as we attempt to get some relief from the discomfort too much stress causes in the body. This CD program will teach you a variety of simple, effective, and healthy ways to relieve that stress in your body and mind, so you can live a happier and healthier life on your own terms. You can use the CD to learn and practice these relaxation and imagery skills. And once you learn them, you'll find that you'll be able to use them anytime when you need to reduce your level of stress. And of course, you can use the CD to guide you as much as you like. The stress response is a physical reaction in your body that we sometimes call the fight-or-flight response. This is triggered when you run into a dangerous situation, like a wild animal or a mugger. Your body prepares for survival by sending an alarm to the sympathetic nervous system, which curiously doesn't have anything at all to do with being sympathetic, but has to do with surviving a crisis. The sympathetic nervous system sends signals throughout your body that increase your heart rate and blood pressure, make all of your senses more alert and acute, and shunt blood to your large muscle where mothers move cars to save their babies, or people perform heroic acts that defy belief. If you survive the threat, your body goes back into a compensatory rest period called the relaxation response, which in many ways is the opposite of the fight-or-flight response. The relaxation response is a repair and recharging state of the body, where brain and muscle chemicals are replaced, energy is renewed, and injuries are healed. The relaxation response signals travel through the parasympathetic nervous system, which relaxes the muscles, sends blood back to the digestive system, and lets the brain, heart, and blood vessels relax. This relaxation response allows us to heal and return to normal as quickly as possible after an episode of high stress. Stress researchers refer to the scenario I described as type 1 stress. There is a clearly identifiable threat, an action that can be taken to resolve it, and one way or another, it's over quickly. Fortunately, in modern life, we rarely run into wild beasts or direct threats to our lives. But in the course of our daily lives, we're confronted with many things that are also threats, even if they're not so immediate. And we tend to hold these threats in our minds and worry about them. We worry about mortgages and taxes and wars and jobs and health and loved ones. And the list goes on and on. The thing is, the brain reacts to these thoughts, images, and fears as if they were real, immediate threats. These thoughts themselves can trigger a stress response in your body, even if it isn't full-fledged. The body starts running on high alert, ready to meet a threat to survival. But these threats can't usually be resolved quickly, if at all. Stress researchers call this type 2 stress, triggered by multiple ongoing worries and hassles that often have no clear path of resolution. This kind of ongoing stress is what wears us down, depletes our energy, erodes our healing indirectly. The solution to type 2 stress is to learn to interrupt the stress by triggering the relaxation response on a regular basis. We relieve this type of stress by using the same part of us that caused it in the first place, our imaginations. The very good news about type 2 stress is that because you can create it with your imagination, you can also relieve it the same way. And that's what you'll learn to do in this program. There are two major skills in resolving and reducing stress. One is resolving stressful situations that can be resolved, and the other is changing the way you react to an unresolvable situation. You'll learn relaxation and imagery skills on this CD that will help you do both by learning to physically and mentally relax at will. And before you start to learn to relax, take a moment to learn a simple way of assessing your stress or tension level. People react to excessive stress in different ways. Some react physically with headaches, neck pain, or low back pain, while others feel more emotionally upset, get anxious, or have trouble sleeping. Yet another group will find themselves smoking, drinking, or overeating in an attempt to reduce their distress. What are the first signals you get that you are carrying too much stress response around? If you're not sure, be alert for what happens as you become more aware of stress and relaxation as you use this program. Whatever your signals, most people feel a greater amount of tension in their body as they become more stressed. In a moment, I'll ask you to scan your body and assess your tension level. But first, I want to introduce you to a handy way to measure your stress level, simply by imagining a scale or a gauge that reads from 0 to 10. This could be a vertical or horizontal scale, 0 at the lowest to 10 at the highest. If 0 represented having absolutely no stress or tension at all, and 10 represented having as much stress and tension as is humanly possible, where would you rate the tension and stress level you feel right now? Just take a minute to become aware of your body and the way you feel right now. You might want to slowly scan your attention through your body, like a radar or sonar beam, traveling from top to bottom and back up. Just notice where you would place yourself right now on this imaginary scale. Wherever it is, remember the number or write it down and use it as a baseline level so you can evaluate the relaxation methods I will teach you next. I recommend that you listen to and experiment with the next two sections to begin to learn to relax. Together, they'll only take you about 15 minutes or so, and you'll probably find that they immediately help you to feel more relaxed and comfortable. Let's start with a fundamental skill for physically and mentally relaxing, using your breath. I never imagined when I went to medical school how much time I would spend simply teaching people to breathe more deeply and fully. But it's one of the easiest and most effective tools you have for relieving tension and the stress response. Breathing is like one of those cars that student drivers learn to drive in, with two sets of controls. Your body will always automatically breathe enough for you to survive. And your breathing is usually regulated without you having to think about it at all by the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems we discussed earlier. When we're calm and relaxed, breathing is normally deeper and slower. Although many of us have developed habits of shallow breathing from wearing tight clothing, trying to hold our bellies in, being overly sedentary, or simply being in a stress state much of the time. When we're overstressed, our breathing tends to become shallow and higher in our chest, like a deer standing stock still trying to avoid being. And by learning to breathe more deeply and fully, we can reverse the activation of the stress system and turn on the relaxation system. What you want to do in order to do this is to learn to belly breathe once again. Belly breathing, technically called abdominal or diaphragmatic breathing, is perfectly natural. If you get a chance to watch a baby or an animal breathe while they sleep, you'll see that mostly their tummy goes in and out, and their chest just moves a little bit at the end of the breath. That's abdominal breathing, or belly breathing. To relearn belly breathing, lie comfortably on your back, or recline in a chair. Place one hand on your abdomen and one hand on your chest. And without trying to change anything, simply observe what happens in your hands when you breathe normally. Which hand lifts first when you inhale? Which one lifts the most? Which one moves downwards first? And what moves more, the hand on your belly or the hand on your chest? Now imagine that you have a balloon in your belly, and on your next in-breath, imagine that you breathe right into that balloon and let yourself fill it as full as you can. When you've reached the limit for one breath, let the breath escape from the balloon with a little back pressure against your lips, and follow the breath all the way out, emptying out till the balloon is as empty as you can get it without straining or struggling. And hold it out for a count of 2. And then fill the balloon again and hold it in for a count of 2. And then let it empty again with a long, smooth out-breath. And then let your breathing go to its natural rate and rhythm once more. And take a minute to notice what's happening in your breathing and in your hands now. Does it seem the same or has it changed in any way? Just notice. There are many different timing patterns that people use for relaxation breathing, and here's a simple one to explore. What you'll do is take another belly breath, this time filling the balloon on a slow count of 4, like 1001, 1002, 1003, 1000. If you can, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. So, when you're ready, take a belly breath, filling the balloon on a slow count of 4. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. And hold it for a count of 2. 1001, 1002. And release fully on a count of 6. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006. And hold it out for a count of 2. 1001, 1002. And now let your breathing become normal again. And just relax for a few moments. And when you're ready, let's try it again. And this time let yourself count mentally. You'll find your own rate and rhythm. Breathe in on a slow count of 4. Hold it in for a count of 2. And breathe out on a slow count of 6. Letting your out breath be a real letting go kind of breath. Hold it out for a count of 2. Relax and breathe normally. And now gently scan your body again and just check in on your mental scale. And notice where you would rate your tension and stress level now. Remember, 0 is no tension at all, and 10 is the most tension you can imagine. Notice whether it's the same as before, higher, or lower. Don't be particularly concerned about where it is right now. While you'll soon learn to relax with belly breathing, you might even feel a little more tense right now until you get comfortable with it and find your own rate and rhythm. If you already feel more relaxed, let yourself take 4 nice full belly breaths in a row. Again, inhaling to a slow count of 4, holding for 2, exhaling in a slow count of 6, and holding out for 2. I'll let you count for yourself. Let yourself experiment with it till you find the rhythm that feels best for you. And after 4 belly breaths, let your body relax and just let your breathing go natural. And now, assess your tension and stress level again on your mental scale. And notice what's happened. And now take just a few minutes more to experiment with some simple images that I'll offer you in the next section. Now let's see what happens if you add a few simple thoughts and images to your belly breathing. If you haven't checked your tension level, do that now and rate it on a 0 to 10 scale, with 0 being no tension and 10 being maximum tension. And then on your next 4 belly breaths, imagine that you are inhaling calm and relaxation and releasing tension or pressure as you breathe out. Use the count of 4 in, holding for 2, 6 out, holding for 2, at whatever rhythm or rate is comfortable for you, as long as your out breath is longer than your in breath. Remember, as you breathe in, you bring in a sense of relaxation with the breath. And as you release the breath, you release tension as if you had a pressure released out. You might even mentally repeat the word relax as you breathe in and release as you breathe out. Go ahead and try that. And now breathe normally and assess your tension level again and notice how you feel. And now breathing normally, simply imagine that your body is like a sack of potatoes and notice what that feels like. I wonder if you felt any change in your body as you imagined that. Just notice. How about if you imagine that your body is made entirely of wet noodles, limp and loose. It can be warm or cold, whichever you prefer. Notice if either of those images relaxes your body. And if they do, remember them and use them when you want to relax. And now to relax more deeply, breathing normally. Imagine yourself being somewhere very beautiful and peaceful. Somewhere you may have been and peaceful and safe. And just take a few moments to notice what you imagine seeing in this place. The colors, the shapes, the things you imagine seeing. And notice if there are any sounds that you hear in this place. Or if it's just very quiet. Notice what the air is like. Or if there's an odor or aroma you smell. There may or may not be. And it doesn't really matter. Just notice what you notice in this special place of relaxation and peace. Notice what time of day or night it seems to be. And what time of year. And just relax there for a few moments and enjoy this beautiful, peaceful place. And especially notice how it feels to be there. And just enjoy a few moments there without having to go anywhere else or do anything else. And if that feels good to you, just let yourself soak up the feeling of peacefulness that's there. As if you were a sponge, and you could absorb it right into your cells. And just take a little while just to be. And then when you're ready, let yourself prepare to become aware of the outside world around you. Slowly, gradually. And if you feel you'd like to stay in this peaceful place, that's all right. You can stay here as long as you like until you feel it's time to come back to the outer world. And you can remember that you can visit this peaceful place within you at any time of your own choosing, to draw from the sense of beauty and peacefulness there, whether for a minute, or a few minutes, or longer. And when you come back to the outer world, you can gently open your eyes and look around, notice what's around you. You can gently stretch and come fully alert, relaxed, and refreshed. But before you begin to move about too much, just take another moment to scan your body and once again assess your tension level. And notice how it compares to where it was when you started. If you feel more relaxed than you were before, realize that you now have a method that can relax you in just a few minutes. 1 or 2 cycles of 4 belly breaths, and whichever of these simple images that work best for you. Use this method a couple of times a day to break the stress and tension. And use it when you're tired, or wired, or need a break. Use it before eating to to improve your digestion and help you savor your food and help you with your food selection and the amount that you eat, if that's an issue for you. And use these relaxation methods whenever you feel your stress level is getting out of your comfort zone. If you're going to drive or operate any kind of dangerous machinery or equipment after relaxation, make sure that you're fully alert and that your attention is all the way back in the outer world before you do. You might want to take a 2-minute walk and just feel your whole body and make sure that your full attention is back in the outside world. You may want to write or draw about your experience. You have about 25 minutes or so. Listen to the next lesson. It will teach you a simple method for reaching an even deeper level of relaxation and comfort. Here's a somewhat longer relaxation method that will help you reach an even deeper level of relaxation and comfort. It builds on the skills you've already learned and adds a simple counting imagery to body relaxation to help take you deeper. This process will take you about 20 minutes or so and will leave you feeling relaxed but refreshed after doing it. If you're in a high stress period or if you're habitually tense, I recommend practicing this deep relaxation method twice a day for 3 weeks to condition your mind and body to the relaxation response. If you can't do it twice a day, aim to practice once a day, and then use your belly breathing and briefer relaxation methods for shorter periods throughout the day. You'll accustom yourself to being more relaxed, just as you learned, without knowing it, how to be tense and wound up. So to begin, make yourself comfortable, let the machine answer the phone, and ask anyone you need to ask to not disturb you for about 20 to 25 minutes or so. You may want to loosen any tight clothing or jewelry, and feel free to shift around to make yourself even more comfortable at any time. Remember, you only relax because you decide to, and this is a skill that you are learning. You are in control. You can open your eyes and stop the process whenever you like, and you can close them again and resume the relaxation process whenever you like as well. So, begin with a nice deep belly breath, beginning to relax on the in-breath and releasing tension on the out-breath. And take 4. And when you are ready, imagine yourself at the top of a set of 10 stairs, leading gently downward to a peaceful, safe, and powerfully relaxing place. You can imagine the stairs as steep or shallow as you like, indoors or outdoors, natural or constructed. They may be stairs from somewhere and sometime in your life, or they may be purely imaginary. It really doesn't matter. So just accept the stairs that you imagine, as long as it's pleasant and comfortable for you. If for any reason it isn't, change the scene and imagine a set of stairs that is pleasant and comfortable. And in a moment, you can begin to walk down the stairs, one at a time, relaxing a section of your body as you do, And with each step, you can relax a bit more. And at the bottom, you can immerse yourself again in a peaceful, safe, and powerful place where you can relax, recharge, and renew. As you take a deep, full breath and move to step 10, become aware of your feet, your ankles, and your legs. And let your feet, ankles, and legs soften and relax in their own way, easily and naturally, without effort or struggle. Just inviting them to let go of any excess tension they don't need to hold. And as you move to step 9, become aware of your hips, pelvis, and low back, and let them soften and release tension. Don't worry at all about how any part of you relaxes or how you feel after you relax. Simply invite how the first part of your body relaxes. And when you're ready, you go to the deeper step 8, and let some reflection and confidence release from your head. You may rest and relax as well, and even the organs in your pelvis and abdomen can relax. So let this be a pleasant and comfortable experience. Simply letting yourself enjoy the sensations of deeper relaxation and comfort with each step you take. As you move to step 7, become aware of your chest and rib cage and the area between and across your shoulder blades. And let the chest and rib cage soften and relax. Your heart and lungs can relax as well and become more comfortable in your chest. And the area across and between your shoulder blades and across the breast area can relax as well. Just pause for a moment and notice how comfortable you feel. Remember, you're in control, and you can relax a little bit or a lot with each descending stair. So when you're ready, go to step 6 and become aware of your neck and shoulders. And invite your neck and shoulders to soften and relax and become more comfortable in their own way. Really let this area go and let it become soft and comfortable. And as always, feel free to move this or any other area to become even more comfortable. And as your neck and shoulders relax, go deeper to step 5 and let a pleasant feeling of relaxation and comfort flow down your arms, through your elbows, down your forearms, through your wrists and hands, and all the way to the tips of your fingers and thumbs. And inviting the palms of your hands to relax pleasantly as well. And as each part of you relaxes, all of you can relax more deeply and comfortably if you like. And as you move to step 4, become aware of your scalp and forehead and invite them to soften and relax and become more at ease. And at step 3, your eyes and the little muscles around your eyes can soften and become at ease and take a very well-deserved rest. As you go deeper to step 2, you can release the muscles of your face, your jaw muscles, your lips, and even your tongue. and invite any part of you that is not yet deeply and comfortably relaxed to join with those parts of you that are. And as you step down to stair one, imagine that you find yourself being somewhere once again that is very beautiful and peaceful to you. Somewhere you may have been before, or somewhere that just comes to you right now. It doesn't really matter, as long as the place you imagine yourself to be is very beautiful to you, very peaceful, very safe. And just take a few moments to notice where you're imagining yourself now, and what you imagine seeing in this place. Noticing the shapes and colors, and all the things you imagine seeing. Notice if there are any sounds in this place, or if it's very quiet. And notice if there's an odor, or an aroma, or a special quality or feeling in the air. There may or may not be. Just notice what you notice in this place. Notice what time of day or night it seems to be. And I wonder if you can tell what time of year it is. Just relax for a few moments here and enjoy this beautiful, peaceful place. And especially notice how it feels to be there. And just give yourself the opportunity to enjoy a few moments there without having to go anywhere else, without having to do anything. And if that feels good to you, just let yourself soak up the feelings of peacefulness, of relaxation, or renewal that are there. As if you were a sponge and you could absorb it directly into your body, into your cells, to the deepest core of your being, filling you with a peaceful and relaxed energy, and just letting your body and mind renew and recharge and refresh as they take this very well-deserved break. And just take a few minutes to just let yourself be with these deep feelings of relaxation and renewal.
So he didn't say, as other mayors have said, if you come to New York to attend with the federal government. I saw a video yesterday of him fighting with troopers. I don't know if they were the troopers were supporting ICE or what, but he was yelling at them at the top of his lungs and physically sort of, with his hands down, smashing his body into them, the way they do that so that you're not hitting somebody, but you're bumping into them. So he seems unhinged. So
I was going to say, he might have a temper that none of us have seen. And by the way, did you note his entire transition staff are all women? Don't know if you noticed that or not.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that to me. And by the way, I should point out, many people may not know this. New York had a Democratic Socialist mayor before.
I didn't know that.
Right, many people don't. David Dinkins, from the Greenwich Village, my home, Democratic Socialist club. And he was perhaps the worst mayor in the history of the city, a one-termer. A nice guy with whom I spent lots of time hanging around and partying. Absolutely fun guy. Like Bill de Blasio, who I also supported and for whom I raised millions of dollars, did nothing for the city. And I think, you can cue this song if you wish, Steve, but I would say that I won't get fooled again.
Norm, thank you.
Can we get Storm one more question? I was shocked.
Norm, you can take 60 seconds now, or you can have another fresh five a little bit later, your choice.
I could get just a quick answer for Scott.
Yeah.
So there is a sect of Hasidim called the Satmar, and you probably know this.
These the anti-Zionist guys.
Well, no, you're thinking of Notori Carter. They don't endorse political Zionism, but they love Israel. They go to Israel. As do. They are making a deal with Mamdani so that he doesn't disrupt the education of their children. So that's the explanation of that.
Thank you very much. It's time for Mod Squad Popcorn. After Mod Squad Popcorn, we have Joanna, who's new on stage.
And then come up to step 5, halfway back. You can come up the stairs a little more quickly than you went down, coming more alert with each step. Coming up to step 6, and step 7, coming more awake and alert with each step. Your eyes may start to feel like they want to open, and you can open them at any time. Come up to step 8, feeling your body awakening and wanting to move. And as you come up to step 9, you can start to wiggle your fingers and toes. And at step 10, let yourself come fully alert and gently stretch your body. Let your eyes open and look around the room or space around you. Feeling good in your body. Feeling more relaxed and yet more refreshed and energized than you were before. Feeling calm yet clear-minded. And when you're all the way back, you can gently stretch again as you come fully alert, yet relaxed and refreshed, and ready to go about making the best of your day or evening. Use this guided imagery process to explore with your creative imagination any situation that is stressful to you. When you deeply relax and ask for help, your inner mind can often provide new perspectives on old problems that can help you understand how to improve. And think about what your inner wisdom brings to your mind when you ask for its assistance. And take the time to really listen to it. Begin by getting comfortable and making sure you won't be disturbed for about 20 to 25 minutes. Start to relax by making the reminder motion that signals you're beginning relaxation and letting yourself take a deep, full belly breath. Whenever you need to go deeper, let yourself take another deep breath. And otherwise, let your breathing return to normal. When you're ready, imagine yourself at the top of your imaginary staircase that leads to your place of deep, powerful relaxation and clarity. And take the first step down to 10, inviting your feet, your ankles, and your legs to begin to relax. And as you go down the stairs, simply inviting and allowing each part of you to relax in their own way. And as each part of you relaxes, all of you can relax more deeply and comfortably. And as you relax more deeply and comfortably, it's easier for any part of you to relax. As you go to step 9, invite your hips, your pelvis, and your low back to soften and relax. And begin to go deeper. Yet staying aware at each step, even as you relax more deeply. At step 8, release the abdomen, the waistline, and the midsection. Going deeper and more relaxed with each step. As you move to step 7, becoming aware of your chest and rib cage. And inviting the chest to lift to notice and enjoy any relaxation you're already feeling. And when you're ready to go deeper and let go of more tension, go to step 6. Letting your neck and shoulders become soft and at ease. Releasing and relaxing through the neck and shoulders. And at step 5, letting the feelings of release go all the way down your arm, through your elbows, and down your forearms, through your wrists, and into the hands, and all the way to the tips of your fingers and toes. Let it be a really pleasant and enjoyable feeling of deep relaxation and comfort as each part of your body takes a well-deserved rest. Letting the palms of your hands relax as well. And as you go deeper to step 4, releasing your scalp and forehead, letting them feel soft and at ease. And as you go to step 3, let your eyes and the little muscles around your eyes become soft and at ease. And step 2, release your face and jaw muscles, inviting them to release and relax any tension they ever need to hold. And then your lips, and even your tongue can relax in your mouth. And at step 1, let yourself go to that beautiful, peaceful place of relaxation that you do, getting comfortable there. Take a few moments to notice what you see there today, and what you imagine hearing, if anything. Notice what the air is like, whether there's an odor or aroma you can sense. Notice the time of day or night, and the temperature. But especially notice the feelings of peacefulness, safety that you feel there. And find the spot where you feel most centered and aware. And let yourself get comfortably situated there. And as you do, bring to mind the situation, the event, or people that are of concern to you, that are causing stress in your life, that you'd like some help with. And then when you're ready, invite your mind to take a moment to represent the one that is most caring for you. The part of you that you grew up and you get the very connects deeply to your well-being. The image may be strange or familiar to you. It may come as a person, an animal, a spirit, even a cartoon figure. It may be someone or something that's living or not. It may be a religious figure, or simply a presence or energy that you sense. Let this image of your inner wisdom be whatever it is, as long as you can feel that it is both wise and caring. Take some time to check the image out carefully for these two qualities. If for any reason the image does not feel both wise and loving to you, then send it away and imagine a figure that is both wise and loving, being there with you in this special place. Imagine that you communicate with this figure in a way that you and it can understand. And thank the figure for coming into your awareness. And notice how it responds. Let it know you'd like some help with the person or situation you haven't been able to come to terms with. And explain the situation to this inner wise figure.
Fuck Donald Trump, bro. Fuck all that shit. Donald Trump a bitch. We need Obama back. That's all I gotta say. We need Obama back.
Well, I would like to ask you a question since you say fuck Donald Trump. Who have you fucked lately?
He's like, hey, like, no.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, no, you mods, you're right. I humbly apologize. No problem. Should we continue speaking to Drench? Mods?
No, I think this is a case where, unless that's his parent that's put him up to it.
All right.
His parent should get on
Don't
there.
put me up to shit, man. Fuck Donald Trump.
All right,
Okay,
we'll tell you what, let's speak to Mommy and Daddy. You put Mommy and Daddy on the phone to make sure that...
Man, you ain't speaking of shit, man. Fuck Donald Trump.
Okay, all right.
There's lots of grown-ups here that agree with you, Drench. No worries.
Mods, you have my permission to do with Drench whatever you want. Mods, it's up to you. I'm not there. No problem. And Mods, thank you, because thank you. I would have carried that a little too far. Thank you very much. This is let's give my Mod Squad a standing ovation. Thank you.
This is Joanna. I just want to say for the record, Uncle Steve, you can speak to me that way anytime you like. Oh, goodness.
Can I comment on the MTA thing? Yeah, the MTA, Mamdani has no influence over the MTA, like zero. It's a governor, state of New York appointed board, right, that controls the MTA. I work for a similar public transit authority. The mayor of the city has, other than just like being encouraging or participating in the normal metropolitan planning processes and things as in an advisory role, it has no control over a transit authority. Transit authority is a wholly separate entity. So this idea that you make the bus system free by being mayor is just silly. The MTA is going to come back and say that's not fiscally possible. You can't take away 20 to 30% of our revenue and expect us not to have to cut extreme amounts of primarily bus service, because they're not going to cut their subway service, their fixed route service.
I was just going to say Court line to the subway as well as that state road also.
Yeah. And fixed guideway service. You can shorten or you can lengthen headways, like the time between trains, right? But once you've got a rail and you're running on that rail, and you usually have grants that are ensuring certain levels of service on that fixed guideway.
So Cora, let me clarify. When he says he wants to make the bus free, does that include the subway, the buses, and
No,
the
I
trains?
think he just means the bus system.
Okay.
I'd have to look into it, but there's among like social justice that are folks that are transportation advocates, there's a strong belief that like the bus system is for the people, right? And fixed guideway systems are for rich people, basically, which is not really the case in a city like New York, nor is it in most cities. There are problems in places like San Francisco and like around the DC area, but in the suburbs.
Well, San Francisco is the BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit.
Right. BART is the way they've implemented BART, it tends to benefit high-income earners more than low-income earners. But
really, okay.
Oh yeah, it doesn't mean that low-income people can't ride it, right? But the routes that they've set up and everything are, and where they allocate service can be problematic.
Well, it starts basically right near San Jose in the South Bay Area. It goes all the way up to the city. It goes underneath San Francisco Bay and into Oakland. Okay.
That's true, but like, where do the really wealthy people live now?
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
The really wealthy people can't even afford to live in the city. They have to live in the outskirts.
They have to live in I mean, basically Silicon Valley, and they've taken over Oakland too. So yeah, it's problematic. So it's anyhow. People don't understand transit system budgets. They, also like it's counter to your goals to be extremely antagonistic towards a federal government where and then want to have like less expensive transit because most of the services paid for through a combination of federal grants and formula and discretionary grants, and then other to collect those taxes. Where I live, it's payroll taxes. Sometimes it's in the form of sales taxes, that sort of thing. So, yeah.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Paul is new. We'll get to Paul in just a moment. If you're in the audience and you want to come up, but you don't know what you want to talk about, this is what I refer to as the best 2 minutes on Clubhouse.
Tonight, more than 1,000 flights canceled across the country. Fallout from the government shutdown expected to get worse. The FAA forcing airlines to cut flights at 40 of America's busiest airports from Atlanta to New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. 4-hour delays reported in Washington, D.C. Passengers scrambling to rebook flights. The shutdown raising safety concerns amid the critical shortage of thousands of air traffic controllers. The shutdown day 38, the longest in history. Democrats tonight proposing a deal to reopen the government and extend Obamacare subsidies. Republicans calling it a non-starter. And 20 in the cockpit, the alarm sounding as the crew struggled to regain control of the plane. New reporting on the deadly shooting of a house cleaner. A wife and mother of 4 shot through the front door when she mistakenly went to the wrong home. Will criminal charges be filed? Former NFL star Antonio Brown and luxury cars. President Trump issuing new pardons. Former baseball great Darryl Strawberry for his tax evasion conviction. And a former Tennessee Republican lawmaker convicted of corruption and sentenced to prison less than 2 months ago. The mother of a missing 9-year-old girl arrested in an unrelated investigation. New surveillance video showing mother and daughter wearing wigs just days before the young girl was last seen. Tonight, millions bracing for the first Arctic blast of the season. Temperatures plunging between the teens and mid-30s. And Mega Millions closing in on $1 billion. Tonight's jackpot and where it stands now.
All right, and those are just some of the things that you can talk about. If you're in the audience, you want to come up, raise your hand, talk about anything you want, just like Paul is going to do right now. Paul, good morning. Welcome back to the show. What would you like to talk about?
Well, the Madami, he can't do what he wants to do, basically, because do it. And he also has the governor that will say no as well, or yes. And if El Norma was here, he would elaborate. He could elaborate more, but he cannot do what he wants.
Well, let's see. I mentioned earlier about putting a freeze on rents. The mayor of any city is allowed to do that, right? I mean, anytime somebody promises you something for free, somebody has to pay for it.
Well, I mean, in this case, I just looked at MTA does get payroll tax revenue. So payroll taxes, generally what that'll end up doing is having downward pressure on wages, because if it's employer side payroll taxes, that's an additional cost of having employees. So they'll be less likely to increase wages or, give people cost of living adjustments.
Now, I heard that New York City, and Norm can confirm this, New York City itself has a payroll tax of, I think, 7.5%. And one of Madami's plans is to increase that payroll tax, if not across the board, colloquially on the rich, an additional 2%. Norm, very quickly, yes or no, and we'll get to you. Have you heard that, or do you not know about that?
Don't know. I can check.
Okay, great. Cora, you wanted to continue?
Well, I mean, that's one way of approaching it. And I think in New York, it's kind of a difference at the ultra rich people or at the wealth of even those high wage earners that, obviously have a lot of investments and stuff. Like once you get
earners in New York City pay 40% of the taxes and give out the top 5% of New Yorkers.
If you consider that they get 90% of the
benefits,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, not of the benefits, they get, they get 90% of the wealth, right? And if they're paying 40% of the taxes, they get 90% of the wealth. It's like that's still a winning formula for them.
Well, that's what happens when you work 80 to 100 hours a week, and you
do
develop.
They though?
Well, tell you what.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, and even if they don't, they're owning and running their own business. Madami wants to institute a $30 an hour minimum wage for New York City. $30 an hour to flip burgers. Go ahead, Cora.
Well, I mean, I live in a city where minimum wage is approaching $20 an hour. So, to me, do we have some disparities in payroll taxes for wage earners? Yes. Like a good example is Social Security and Medicaid. So, like effective tax rate on high wage earners is lower on those payroll taxes. To a huge degree, and you can easily make Social Security solvent by just like raising that cap up to $400,000 or $500,000. And that's not 6%. It's not going to hurt those people, right? Anyway, this is what I'm mostly trying to get at is they don't actually get at the real wealth, right? They get at the wages, and if you're a person that doesn't earn wages, which are the truly wealthy people, then you're not paying into that system, like period.
Thank you. If you're in the audience and want to come up, please do. We've got our mandatory break in 6 minutes, and then Reverend Scott is going to step into the captain's chair and run the ship straight and true for the first half of our last hour number 3. Paul, did you have a question you wanted to see if Norm or any of my Mod Squad knows, or are you good, Paul? Let's go to Les. Les, good morning. Welcome back to the show. You very well might be taking us up to the top of the hour. What's going on there?
Well, I'm trying to figure out if I want to travel on for the holiday.
I say no, but go ahead. At least not until the government reopens. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think you answered. That's where I'm coming to too, because one, I like planes that don't crash. Someone's what?
50 miles and hop on the ship. I don't have to fly anywhere, but please continue. Yeah.
And and the expense of traveling, during the holidays. is usually higher, and then if they cancel 10% of the flights, supply, demand, it's just going to be quite expensive.
Through the roof, baby, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just going to hold off on that. And,
I think that's a good idea. Where do you live again, please? City and state, I forget if you feel comfortable saying.
People are complaining about the weather here, but I'm from Chicago, so my superpower is I'm invulnerable to California cold.
Yeah, who was it? Was it Mark Twain that said the coldest winter he ever spent was a summer in San Francisco? Was that Mark Twain, I think?
That was Mark Twain. He was, and it's been repeated many times by people that have visited there. But the winters are, I mean, the maximum cold here is nothing to worry about. And nothing else exciting with Mr. Mondavi and the grocery stores. I think the root cause of not having grocery stores in poor areas is the crime. And stores stores leave places where they don't have security. And we've seen that all over.
I know this, that in Oregon, and I'm not markets, but when it comes to liquor, vodka, whiskey, tequila, whatever the case may be, those are government stores. All the prices are exactly the same. No, really?
No. They're government contracts to privately operating stores. So there's a limited, it's kind of like getting a cab medallion. So they're privately owned, privately operated. And then the OLCC, the Oregon Liquor and Control Commission, sets the prices, right?
So all the prices are exactly the same, but the actual stores are independently owned. Okay.
Right,
okay.
But the stores are independently owned.
Okay, very good. Les, you wanted to follow up?
Oh, just to end, all I want to do is comment. It was really great to have an actual expert, Cora, on discussing this stuff too. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I could also weigh in on the grocery stores. So.
Well, we'll tell you what.
I would love that.
I'll tell you what. Since we're at the top of the hour, Cora, why don't you take a couple of notes if you want, or weigh in at the after the break. My mod squad, the greatest mod squad in the history of Clubhouse, as I say time and time again, has a wide variety of fields of expertise and knowledge. Cora is our resident expert when it comes to infrastructure and contracting. Joanna, you've got a hot mic. Joanna Eilert is arguably an expert in raising children and eyesight. Alfonso is our expert in South America. I already said Cora. James Corletta, he knows a little bit about a lot about a little, just like me. But we've got 2 hours in the tank, 1 hour left. We're going to take our break, and then I'm going to hand over the keys to
Blazing Steve.
Blazing Steve.
All right.
There you go. Don't go away. And during the break, Joanna, Blazy, your Uncle Steve.
Chester Robinson's a man. Love you more than you will know. Oh, oh, oh. God bless you, please, Mr. Robinson.
Today, you find yourselves equals. For you are all equally blessed. For I have the pride, the privilege, nay, the pleasure of introducing to you a knight sired by knights, a knight who can trace his lineage back beyond Charlemagne. I first met him atop a mountain near Jerusalem, praying to God, asking his forgiveness for the Saracen blood spilt by his sword. Next, he amazed me still further in Italy when he saved a fatherless beauty from the would-be ravishings of her dreadful Turkish uncle. In Greece, he spent a year in silence just to better understand the sound of a whisper. And so, without further gilding the lily, and with no more ado, I give to you the Seeker of Serenity.
I mean, what a show.
How many souls have we had on the ship so far?
319 souls have come through the doors.
I love that. And there's an hour left for more souls to come into the ship. And go for a fantastic ride. So I'm stepping out of the captain's chair. You are the XO. Step on in, take the keys to the jalopy.
I open up my little time here just with a clip from a film that I saw in the movie theater. I'm dating myself now. I can't believe I'm this old. I still look fantastic though, but just a little prompt for the new speakers from the great Robin Williams, Dead Poets Society.
Words and language. No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world. Now see that look at Mr. Pitt's eye? Like 19th century literature has nothing to do with going to business school or medical school, right? Maybe. Mr. Hopkins, you may agree with them, thinking, yes, we should simply study our Mr. Pritchard and learn our rhyme and meter and go quietly about the business of achieving other ambitions. A little secret for you. Huddle up. Huddle up! We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race, and the human race is filled with passion. Medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. Poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. To quote from Whitman, "Oh me, oh life of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, what good amid these, oh me, oh life?" Answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. That the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be?
That the powerful new idea, you don't ever know just how powerful your words may be. With that being said, let's go to Paul. Paul, welcome to the stage. Nice to see you. Would you like a fresh five, my friend? Paul going once, Paul going twice. Let's go over to Shapeshifter with a wonderful little Appuccino PTR. Would you like a fresh five, sir?
I'd love to have a dialogue.
Yeah,
How
sure.
you doing today?
Absolutely. Good to see you. What's going on?
And thanks for the shout out to the Al Pacino having some shisha, hookah, or hubbly bubbly.
Say hello to my little friend.
One of the great. You know, I don't like to rewatch movies much, but that's one movie where every time I rewatch it, I appreciate it a little more. And not because of the violence, but just it's got something to it. Reverend Scott, I'd like to talk to you about the Trinity, if you're okay with that.
Of course.
I'm trying to figure out. It seems to me that Jesus never really spoke about this thing called the Trinity. And I don't know, maybe I'm not correct in my assertion there. But to somebody like me that's like, why is this important? And if I'm correct, like, why didn't he speak about it? You know, because I went through Catholic school and learning about Christianity and in the East, in Lebanon, and it just never really explained. We just kind of all do this thing. We walk in, we do the sign of the cross, and we say Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It's just never really explained.
Often wax this sort of sophisticated, nuanced theology in here, but I'm happy to do it. So I think Jesus doesn't speak about the doctrine of the Trinity. Jesus speaks about the Father and the Spirit, right? I mean, and there is no doctrine of the Trinity in the New Testament. I mean, there's lots of talk about the Father. There's lots of talk about the Son and lots of talk about the Spirit. But the church had this experience of God, right? And they had this experience of God the Father, the main character of the Hebrew Bible. The people of God are in trouble. This God shows up, and he shows up as God for us, God, the one who's in your corner, this transcendent being. But then in the New Testament, we have another manifestation of God that comes a little closer. The incarnation, the Son, Jesus, this transition of God for us becomes God with us. And then you have the Holy Spirit, which I think is God, the people of God experience. God is in us now. That this God who was for us in a transcendent way, this God who became God with us, not just for us, but with us, now is in our hearts, in the community, in these gatherings, and in this energy we feel. That's God in us. And I think the church had all these three experiences of God for us, God with us, God in us. But they also wanted to say that whatever the relationship is, it's clear that the Father is not the Son, and the Son is not the Spirit, and the Spirit's not the Father. So, you have these, it's sort of like poetry or something, right? There's just certain rules and rhythm for meter or music. And I think the doctrine of the Trinity is the church's example of sort of saying, what are the rules for speaking about God? And what ways of talking about God enable the spiritual experience to go further and higher and deeper? In what ways sort of muck up the experience? And I think the doctrine of the Trinity is, well over a century of hammering this out explicitly, saying, well, what happens when you talk about God this way? What happens when, if it's just like Clark Kent and Superman, and there's no real difference between the Father and the Son? Or what happens if the Father's the most God and the Son and Spirit are sort of lesser gods or something? And they found that all of these that there were a bunch of different ways of talking about God that really diminished the spiritual experience. And the doctrine of the Trinity was something through argument and debate and learned discourse that came about as a way to talk about God that did justice to the spiritual experience. And he said, but before we understood vitamins, people ate their dinner and were nourished, right? So you don't need to understand vitamins to eat your dinner and be nourished. And so I think it can help you and enrich your nutritional experience to understand that stuff. But long before we understood vitamins and macros and stuff, people ate and were fed and nourished. So I would say if the Trinity helps you understand your spiritual experience, go with it, get some books. We could talk in the back channel. I could recommend a few simple books on the topic. But I wouldn't, if it's confusing you, I would just say be worshipful, enjoy your spiritual life, and don't think about it too much. So, is that helpful at all, Chief?
Yeah, that's really good, man. Talking about it as a way of semantics and grammar, and as a way of appreciating some of the poetry of this, emphasizing the spirituality. That's all good. Fine. That was really helpful, because sometimes when I find it explained as like some kind of a grounding truth to Christianity, I kind of struggle with that. So, last question: is there any downside? Like if Jesus was to come back and he's walking in churches and he's seeing us do all this ritual, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Would he? Do you think he would caution us about the Trinity in some way? The way we've kind of interpreted it and extrapolated it to today.
I don't know that Jesus would necessarily caution us. I will say this, though, that Jesus had a particular way of pointing out that some people can spend a lot of time on religious semantics and become, religious athletes as far as their capacity to understand religious texts and to debate religious ideas and be really shitty people, really self-righteous. I think Jesus was allergic to self-righteousness. So I think anytime, if Jesus saw people acting like debating the Trinity and all these highfalutin ideas were more important than loving your neighbor or helping a poor person out, bullshit. So I think anytime Jesus saw people spending too much time debating highfalutin ideas and not actually. Let's go over to Leroy. Leroy, welcome. Would you like a fresh five, my friend?
Hi. Thank you. I don't know if I'm trying to learn how to start conversations and not jump into the middle of the story, right? I like to hear the whole thing. I'm practicing at getting better at listening to the whole thing all the way to the end before. But there was one thing that stood that helps me a lot in my spiritual walk. I was raised Christian. I had a great Christian experience. I had no church hurts. But then my spiritual side, I started to, but I never could really get into the those feelings that people were expressing, like things like I was raised Baptist. I didn't understand the Holy Ghost. I couldn't get to the Holy Ghost part. I didn't feel those things. I didn't understand how I couldn't bond with my spirituality through the practice through the ceremonial practice of Christianity. Right? I just didn't. I wasn't trying not to. It just never happened. I remember one time, at church they always say, anybody wants to come up and join the church, come up now. So I think I was about, maybe 10 years old. And I don't know if my mother pushed me up there, but somehow I'm walking down the aisle. I get up to the church. I get up to the front. I'm kneeling down. The pastor walks past, and he touches my. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. And then, but I noticed that what I tried to do was try to impress the people in the church that I felt something. So I made myself cry. So when I turned around and walked back, everybody was like, "Oh, look at this! Oh, he's crying and whatever," and tears come to my eye. And I'm not crying because I felt this thing. I'm crying because I thought that's what they needed. So I get back, and all the grown folks are so happy and kind of proud of my mother. It felt like I did it for them, and I vowed never to pretend like that again. Fast forward, I began to search for connection with my higher self so I could navigate my life. Buddhism, and I started thinking, well, maybe you are spiritual. Maybe you're not supposed to be religious, right? And then in my spirituality, I said, oh, what everybody gets, what people, I got to know God for myself, if that makes any sense to you. And I think that's what's so beautiful about what I'm thinking. When I say I'm God, I don't say that to make everybody else think that their Trinity and whatever they go through is insignificant. You know, I'm saying I heard Martin Luther King one time said this. He said you have to get to know God for yourself. And I think he was saying that after that night, he had got this horrible phone call. It was one of the worst phone calls, and he started looking for messages and something in the Bible to calm him. He had a cup of coffee. He couldn't find anything, and then he did that speech. You got to get to know God for yourself. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. It's okay to get to know God for yourself. And this came from a Baptist minister, pastor. I thought he gave me permission. And then I became okay with being okay, with having Christian foundation, which informed my spiritual foundation, and also being in communities with all kinds of people who practice all kinds of ways.
60 seconds, you got 60 seconds left. I love what you said.
I hope that they don't feel that way about me as well. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks so much, Leroy. I this is an old thing I've heard preachers say that, sitting in church doesn't make you a Christian any more than sitting in a coop makes you a chicken, right? I mean, I think sometimes the trappings of religion are just not helpful for people. And I think sometimes people need to get out of find it. So thank you so much, Leroy, for your contribution today. I want to go to a virtual clubhouse celebrity. We haven't seen him on the stage in a while. My man, Young Elvis, host of some of the best rooms on Club, like a fresh five, my young friend.
Absolutely. Thank you. So it's been a while, and thank you for welcoming back. Sorry, I can't speak, with open arms. It's great to see everybody here. And I want to address a very interesting topic. And Scott, I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you probably do, but we have not found a solution to the government shutdown, and I think we're reaching about 40 days from that mistaken. We might have already done that. And this would mark the longest government shutdown in history. And a lot of people...
The previous record was set under the presidency of number 45, was also Donald J. Trump.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was 35 days. Yeah, so he broke his own record. That's spectacular. Yeah, he got the personal best. But, a lot of people are blaming both sides. Some people are saying, oh, the Republicans are just a bunch of dipshits and they're not, taking these democratic propositions, or, the Democrats, are denying all these propositions that Republicans made first, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? And I really, truly don't know. Where do we truly place that blame? Is there even a blame to put on these people, right? And with that being said, my main question would be, Scott, where do you place the blame? Where do you place the blame?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I think the Republicans have the government, right? They control the government. So there's a little bit of blame there. Failure of the president. Donald J. Trump said that. So I'll say this. The Republicans won a pretty spectacular victory in 2024. Donald Trump, it wasn't a landslide per se, but he won every swing state and won the popular vote, which for a Republican, winning the popular vote is an accomplishment just because of demographic realities and things. But they did not get 60 Senate seats. So the reality is they control the government, but because of the filibuster rule, if you don't have 60 seats in the Senate, you can procedurally hold things up to get your way and negotiations start. Now, the Republicans could do one of two things here. Chuck Schumer offered just 1 year of continuation on the Obamacare subsidies. That's like $25 or $30 billion. And that's a lot of money, but in the context of the federal budget, it's nothing. So they could just capitulate for a year and do it, right? They run the government, but shy of 7 seats or whatever. They can't run the table, so they have to negotiate. They hold a lot of cards, but they hold all the cards. But I would be happy to see the filibuster gone. My side would lose, my party would lose this particular debate, but I think it'd be better for the government if we look. Now, I will say the Democrats chose to do this procedural thing. You could argue, is it worth shutting down things like SNAP benefits, which are actually back in play now, that people are getting them now, but doing that stuff for healthcare subsidies. Well, if your healthcare is going to double, maybe it is worth it. But this offer that the Democrats just made, though, is a gift because it gets the Republicans not having in an election year to have people's premiums go up. I don't know why they're not taking this 1 year deal. It's insane. So I place right now the blame a little more on the Republican side of the ledger, Christian.
Thank you.
There you go. That's my story. I'm sticking to.
Thank you, Scott. I got one last question, and then I'm done.
Yeah. And do you want to promote your show?
No, I will at the end. What are your thoughts on? Hold on. First, young Elvis is going to be in a booster seat.
Yeah, you're audible now. I lost you after Gavin Newsom. Yeah.
Gavin Newsom passed, a bill into law, basically enforcing that anyone under the age of 16 under set circumstances has to be in a booster seat in a car. And I'm like, am I going to have to be? I don't know why we're enforcing it, or we're going to. I'm just a little confused. Maybe you can help me out.
Well, I think it's no secret that there are lots of people in this room that are not fans of the Gav, as our Uncle Steve calls him. This is absurd. I don't know. But I will say this. If you do get a booster seat, you should pimp it out. I mean, get the bling on it. I want you to have the coolest booster seat in California, Christian.
Show up, y'all.
I'll be there. Maybe the president will come.
Oh, that'll be great.
And I'm going to give the keys to the jalopy back.
Yes.
To Uncle Steve. Uncle Steve, I was on the hot seat a bit today.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And by the way, Christian, it's great to see you. And for those of you, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a new law, Assembly Bill 435, that will require children from 8 to 16 years old to pass a 5-step test to stop using a booster seat. Starting in 2027, this law replaces the old rule of using a booster seat until a child is 8 years old or 4'9" tall, and is intended to improve child passenger safety by ensuring the seatbelt fits properly. A 15-year-old using a booster seat?
Well, I would like to point out that
Go ahead, Cora. Yeah.
Gavin Newsom just signed the bill. The California Assembly passed it, so don't put it all on the Gav there. I mean, he's just signing some. How many kids does that actually affect?
What about a 30-year-old small? What do they sit in?
Wait, to my understanding,
Well, they're over 15. They're over 16, so no big deal.
Well, to my understanding, and take this for what it's worth, also in that the steps of how they judge whether or not the booster seat is still required is not only off of the seatbelt test, it is also based off of physical qualities like height and things like that. So being too tall or too short can also be one on top of many other things. That's just my understanding. So it's more than the seatbelt test. They also run different things to make that judgment.
Yeah, I mean, like, most women, right? I'm 5'6", and the seatbelt doesn't fit me correctly. Like, I need a seatbelt adjuster that holds the actual shoulder strap down further. So that I use, and essentially it's like, yeah, I can wear a normal seatbelt, but if I ever do get in a bad car accident, I'm gonna get a big old seatbelt sort of like scar on my neck because of where it hits me on my body. So I don't, honestly, I don't think it's a big deal. If car manufacturers are smart, they'll start outfitting cars with like
adjustable seatbelt. It goes up and down that adjust to the height of the passenger or driver.
Yeah, they would just need to put that same feature in like back seats,
Exactly. So we have exactly 28 minutes before the show ends. If you're in the audience, we encourage you to be bold, brave, courageous. Come on up.
Buckle up, kiddos. Buckle up.
That's right. Buckle up. Come on up. And if you want to come up, but you don't know what you want to talk about, this is what we call the best 2 minutes on Clubhouse.
Tonight, more than 1,000 flights canceled across the country. Fallout from the government shutdown expected to get worse. The FAA forcing airlines to cut flights at 40 of America's busiest airports, from Atlanta to New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. 4-hour delays reported in Washington, D.C. Passengers scrambling to rebook flights. The shutdown raising safety concerns amid the critical shortage of thousands of air traffic controllers. The shutdown, day 38, the longest in history. Democrats tonight proposing a deal to reopen the government and extend Obamacare subsidies. Republicans calling it a non-starter. And 24 hours after a judge ordered the Trump administration to fully fund SNAP food benefits for more than 40 million Americans, tonight an announcement from the USDA. And what a court just ruled moments ago, the horrific crash of that UPS plane in Louisville, Kentucky. What we're now learning about the final seconds in the cockpit, the alarm sounding as the crew struggled to regain control of the plane. Baseball great Darryl Strawberry for his tax evasion conviction, and a former Tennessee Republican lawmaker convicted of corruption and sentenced to prison less than just days before the young girl was last seen. Tonight, millions bracing for the first Arctic blast of the season. Temperatures plunging between the teens and mid-30s, and Mega Millions closing in on $1 billion. Tonight's jackpot and where it stands now.
So if you're in the audience and you want to come up, now is a good time, because as it gets closer to the top of the hour, it's going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible. Alfonso is on the phone, so let's go to Cora. Cora, anything to contribute at this time, or are you good?
Well, I was just going to add another thing on the California seatbelt thing. Often California is kind of tasked by safety law in California.
Yeah, New York started as a public transportation city and state. California, specifically Los Angeles, also started with public transportation, but that's before World War II, when pretty much everybody lived on the housing market in the San Fernando Valley and the outlying areas where you could buy a home for $15,000, and the backyard barbecue started. And then the car manufacturing came into full force. California, specifically Los Angeles, lost the reliance on public transportation and relied on cars and the highways and the freeways and such. And you didn't have to live within 15 minutes of where you were going to work in downtown LA. You could live 30 miles out, 40 miles out, and you would just drive your car. California became a car driving place. Thank you, Cora. JCC, anything you want to contribute at this time, or are you good?
I think I'm good. Thanks.
All right.
Never mind.
Oh, okay. All right. Violet, would you like to contribute, or are you good?
Actually, with the best 2 minutes on Clubhouse, I listened to that news broadcast on Friday night, and the woman who got shot in Indiana, the house cleaner who entered the wrong home.
Yes.
I know a lot of the details of the story aren't out yet, but I personally can't understand why they are not prosecuting. I mean, I know Indiana has a big stand your ground law or whatever it's called.
As does Florida and Texas, and as California does not.
Housekeeping, I come to fluff your pillow.
Oh, yeah, right.
But what I don't understand, I mean, until more of the details come out, it seems to me, how did she get into that house if it was wrong? And he must have had his front door unlocked, for one. And it really sounds like the guy shot first. I mean, didn't even say any. I mean, didn't acknowledge her and say, "What the hell are you doing here?" or whatever, and give her a chance to say anything. So I'm really curious to see if that. I mean, it'll probably fall off the news headlines, but
he's got motion.
the feather duster triggers him. Yeah,
Well,
but no, I was
the
just curious about that.
Too is with most most castle doctrine laws, you have to, like, I don't think a mop handle could be considered a weapon. Like
right. So I mean, why are they hesitating to prosecute? I don't get it.
They are probably waiting, as you are doing, to receive all of the information and then make that decision. But that's an excellent question. Thank you. Alfonso, would you like to contribute at this time, or are you good, Alfonso?
I'm good. Thanks.
Absolutely. Let's go to Les. Les, would you like to contribute, or are you good?
I went to his first. All I want to say is I really appreciate what Scott said about the Trinity, because I didn't really understand it. And I thought I did, but I didn't really understand it until he explained it. In terms of the lady who is not prosecuting the person yet, I agree with you. They should just wait. There's the statute of limitations, goes on for a long time. They should gather the facts and then decide what to do about prosecuting.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Let's see. Let's go to El Normo. El Normo, would you like to contribute, or are you good?
Hey there. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
So, our criminal justice system is based on intent. So, unless he intended to kill her, it was he acted negligently, possibly with criminal negligence. That's one. Number two, a mop handle could be a deadly weapon, of course, but I don't think in this case it was meant to be one. Certainly, if the guy is not a flight risk and there was no intent, there's no reason to arrest him yet until they gather evidence, and that involves talking to him and then examining the physical circumstances. So that's what
Norm, I will tell you, when you're someone like me and I own a firearm, and I'm specifically referring to not when you're taught me that they teach any homeowner that has a gun, is that you don't fire your weapon to warn, you don't fire your weapon to injure, you fire your weapon to kill. If someone were to break into my house, and fortunately I haven't had that happen because, I have a pit bull, and most people that come in to rob houses they case the house first, and they're not going to go to a house that has a large barking dog. But if I ever feel the need to pull out my gun, I'm not attempting to shoot them in the shoulder. I'm not attempting to shoot them in the leg. I'm attempting to shoot them in center mass. Someone like me, we don't pull out our gun to injure. We pull out our gun to kill. But then again, that's just me.
I agree, but yes. Why do you mention that?
Because you were talking about intent.
Yes, in other words, he wasn't intending to kill this woman criminally. He was mistakenly
self-defense is what you're saying. Self-defense.
Yeah, and he was wrong, but that was the intention. So
we don't know that. We don't have all the evidence in, but it certainly seems like it was not a justified shooting.
No, of course not. And he shot her through the door in response to the previous speaker said, the door must have been left open. No, it says that he shot her through the door. So I want to give you an example of my friend who had a camera parked in front of his house in Los Feliz. So you know Los Feliz. And by looking at his camera, he discovered not only that somebody had been trying the door of his car, but also had been trying his front door, trying to get in. So he bought a gun. And then he was instructed to, if he's going to be in a situation where somebody breaks into the house, he had a kid and a wife. His plan was to go into his bathroom,
into the bathtub with his wife and kid and shut the door of the bathroom.
And then call 911, and when it's door you will be shot. Yes, exactly.
Wait, you taught the same thing?
Well, I've been advised that. That's not necessarily what I would do, but homeowners are advised that if you think someone's going to break into your house, you grab your gun, you grab your cell phone, shot. Yes, I was taught that.
So that's interesting. That's universally taught or widely taught. Why the bedroom instead of the bathroom?
You cannot stand away from the door.
You also have a potential escape route in a bedroom.
There you go. You have a potential escape route like the windows or whatnot. If I'm in my bedroom, I can be 10 to 15 feet away from the door. If I'm in the bathroom, arguably the furthest away from the door I could be is 10 feet, and in all probability, like 5 to 6 feet. So under that set of circumstances, I would choose the bedroom simply because I could be 15 feet away rather than
space. Because you want,
I want a bigger space because I want more space between me and the door. Yes, I would never shoot somebody through a door. No, never, ever.
By the way, he was also advised to, if God forbid this should happen, to break the little window next to the front door to indicate that it was breaking and entering, because otherwise he still might be found liable.
Well, arguably that's fraud, but I don't want to go into that because then it sounds like what you're stating is that he was advised to break the window in the front and then lie about it, and that's one thing I would not do in that situation. Let's go to Leroy. Leroy, would you like to contribute anything?
No, Steve, thank you. I had my contribution. Just have a great show as always, and have a good week.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Since we were talking about your life being threatened, death being an issue, God and the Trinity, I want to play a very short clip, and then we will have closing thoughts and burning desires. This is about potential death, potentially about the Trinity, thinking about what your life has been worth. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Shabbat Shalom. Scary thing happened to me a few years ago. I was out to dinner enjoying a steak, and I was enjoying many names, but let's just say that everybody froze. Oh, actually, I do want to name names. Rabbi Simonson. Sorry. A very interesting thing happens when you think you might die. You have this panicked desire, this panicked need to know if you've lived your life right. If you've done enough, if you've said enough, was it all worth it? And I don't want to spoil it for you, but I did survive. And you know that parable about the man who's stranded on a roof during a flood, and every time somebody comes by to help him, he says, "Nope, God will save me." And in the end, he dies, and he says to God, "I've lived by your word. Why didn't you save me?" And God says, "I sent you a life jacket and a boat and a helicopter. That was me, buddy." We have all these chances to wake up and change the course of our lives. Everything can have purpose if you allow it. Thinking about going all in on crypto? That might not be God. Ask your town what they think. I gave them that crypto junk. But if you think God's plan is supposed to feel like something specific, and you haven't felt it, and you wonder if we're all in on some big secret that you weren't in on, let me tell you, you're in on it.
If you're wondering if you're in on some big secret regarding God's plan and you keep thinking about it, trust me, you're in on it. Let's go to Paul. Paul, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Would you like a minute or two to say goodbye?
Yes, I would like to talk about the house the cleaning woman that got shot.
Yeah, take a couple of minutes. Go ahead. We got time. Go ahead.
No, Ma, I'm not talking to you. This happened in upstate New York. A little girl got killed, and the guy went to jail. And this also happened in Florida with this lady. So I believe you don't shoot through the door if you don't know the person. You should. I think they're guilty. That's all I have to say.
Paul, thank you very much. Appreciate your contributions to the show. First class escort down the red carpet to the VIP. Let's go to Christian, a.k.a. Young Elvis, who has his show coming up as Ask the Autistic after my show. I encourage all of you to join it. Christian, do you have any closing thoughts or burning desires?
Yes, I do. And the interesting thing about the show is that we haven't.
Correct.
That is correct. That's correct.
And I've always advised Christian since I've known him, and it's close to a year now, that homework comes first. School comes first. Go ahead.
Absolutely never have been wrong about that. And I think it'll be...
I've been wrong about other things, but not about that.
No, not about this. I think we've all been wrong about plenty of things, but I'll comment on the I guess shooting on the
Please do.
Yeah. So we all have to understand with, stand your ground, law being applied in all these states, it's like 29 and, also Castle Doctrine, being applied, most of the time the way they decide whether or not it's justified or unjustified is not based off statute. It's usually based off of their own personal ruling. And because of that, I truly don't know, and I don't have enough detail, if it is truly unjustified or if it is. So, I guess we'll all find out when the decision comes out of, was this justified and okay, in protection of himself or no, right? Usually, with these, the thing that you really need the most is the threat on your life or reason to believe that great bodily danger will be imposed to yourself. So you can't just, fear because, you hear something and pull out your gun and just start, shooting through, doors like, it's Call of Duty, So I think that, it'll be interesting to see what they come up with and how they're going to make that decision. And,
Thank you, first class escort to the VIP. And again, as I said, I would never shoot anybody through a door. And if I were to, it wouldn't be with my 9mm. It would be with a double barrel shotgun, which I do not currently own. Norm, would you like to say goodbye? We cannot hear you, Norm. You probably have to flip a button. Norm, we can come back to you. I see you unmuted, Norm, but cannot hear you.
Okay, come back to me, please.
No, there we go. We got you. Go ahead.
No, come back to me. I'm sorry.
I can't. There's nobody else except for mods on stage, so we can't come back to you. Would you just like to say goodbye?
Bye-bye.
All right. Norm, first class escort to the VIP. And now we go to the mods who do not get first class escorts to the VIP because they have to stay on stage and do the heavy lifting. Alfonso, would you like to say goodbye? Alfonso going once, Alfonso going twice. We can come back. Violet, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, super Saturday show, Steve. It was a great morning here with you in the Mod Squad. I hope everybody has a great rest of their day, and I will be seeing you tomorrow morning. Bye for now.
Thank you, JCC.
But bid to all a good, rest of the weekend. Happy trails until we meet again, folks. See you all tomorrow.
Cora, would you like to say goodbye? Cora, would you like to say goodbye? We can come back to Cora because we have to go to Alfonso again. One more time.
Everyone.
Oh, there you go, Cora. Okay, cool. And Alfonso, would you like to say goodbye? Alfonso, are you there? Going once, going twice. Okay, on behalf of Alfonso, he says goodbye to everyone that ministers our flock. Reverend Scott, how many souls so far today, and would you like to say goodbye?
417 souls came
Love
through
that.
the door.
Love that.
We love it. I want to say, you were talking about your bathroom and your bedroom. I've seen them all, and they're lovely. I love Casa de Everybody Tomorrow. What a great show, and what a great group of mods.
And with that, everybody, we are done. 3 hours in the tank. We will be back tomorrow, same time, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another 3 hours with Ask the Atheist with Reverend Scott and the Mod Squad. Show works exactly the same way. Everybody is encouraged to come up and talk about whatever they want, but as you can imagine, we do get more people that talk about God and religion, but we had some of that talk today. Everybody, from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the Mod Squad, we wish you and your families a great remainder of your Mayor-elect of New York, Mondami. And we'll close it with this. And unfortunately, John Malincrot, our expert in an end, and I've said exactly the opposite, that with Donald Trump, we will see really how strong our democracy is. And I don't live in New York, so all I can tell you is that with Mondami, mayor-elect, being part of the Democratic Socialist Party, he could never, ever have been elected if democracy were coming to an end. It's the last thing that I expected. Well, actually, when I heard he was running, I had a feeling that he was going to win. And on behalf of you New Yorkers, on behalf of you people who voted for Mondami, and on behalf of you socialists, take care, everybody, and be careful on these clubhouse streets.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond shoes are longing to stray right through the very heart of it. New York, New York. I won't sleep. And I'm king of the hill. These little town blues are melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
Just spoke.
With the no who gave me the
How are you, sis? Oh, did you get back home okay?
I'm like, hey, April, you home? Yes, ma'am. I flew 5 hours from Vegas to Anchorage. Yeah. Consume supplemental collagen, or is that not very helpful? Fuck you.
What's the question about collagen?
Do you consume supplemental collagen, or is that not very helpful?
No, it is. I definitely would recommend taking it. I take a ton of bovine collagen, which you wouldn't want, but you could always get Marine, which some people say is better, and it has a broader amino acid profile, I think. Okay. But collagen, a lot
Actually are going through that and have made decisions based on what they've observed, what they have observed their parents, including Gen X parents, do and go through. That is something that is lasting. That is not something that literally just
I want to whoever do it to, without thinking about the consequences of the decisions that he makes and the trickle-down effect of the decisions he makes. Because he's getting told the wrong advice by the wrong motherfuckers around him, and his administration is totally inexperienced to dealing globally with the shit that's going on.
You done? I just want to say,
I'm here to